Great. Just going to start off by playing a video that I think many IT technicians can relate to. So we'll start with that while people are dropping in.
I will download suspicious software.
I will download suspicious attachments.
I will download suspicious apps.
If there were a button that said download malware, I'd click it.
Oh, I'll download malware.
Like the plague.
I'll download the plague.
And email it to everyone.
I will visit suspicious websites.
Gambling.
Pornography.
BitTorrents. FreeStreamingMovies.com.
FreeLicenseCodes.com.
FreeNuclearCodes.com.
I just ended up on a watch list.gov.
ExpensiveLawsuit.com/we're all going to prison.
I will help that Nigerian prince transfer some money.
He's a prince for crying in the night.
He needs some help.
And in return, he's gonna help me out. We're gonna be friends.
We might even get married.
I love meeting new people.
If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is true.
I don't even know where Nigeria is. I think I don't know.
I will lose my smartphone.
My tablet?
My laptop.
On an airplane.
In a taxi.
In my hotel.
In Thailand.
At Target.
I was swimming and blogging. And then I was just swimming.
I will be unable to configure my email software.
Oh, no.
Even if you tell me how to do it.
I won't even be listening.
I'll be thinking about other things.
Machine guns.
Puppies.
Clowns.
The Crimean War.
The long-term effects of chloroform.
A goat.
I will need your help.
A lot. For just a second.
Right now.
Before work.
After work.
At 2 a.m.
On Christmas morning.
While you're on vacation.
During your own wedding.
During the birth of your child.
Your child's wedding.
During your vacation, for your child's wedding on Christmas morning, which is on a weekend.
Hey, I know that you're at your wedding, but
I just gave my social security number to someone from Iran.
And I need you to call me back.
Okay. I think that's a really good video. Okay, so my name is Per Söderqvist. I work for Sophos. How many here know about Sophos? Yeah? One? That's something. Well, Sophos is a security company. We focus on everything from endpoint security to firewalls, MDM solutions, encryptions, and so on. But today we're going to focus on firewall, UTMs. Just a brief history about Sophos. It was founded in 1985. Our head office is in Oxford, Abingdon, in the UK. Well, just some information about Sophos. We are a proven market leader. We do have many different products, as I said, and we are in the leader quadrant for most of our products. So it could be good to know. We do have many other companies that OEMs our security technology. So even though you're not familiar with Sophos, you might actually be using Sophos without knowing it. So here are some of the partners that we OEM. So Sophos UTM. UTM is short for Unified Threat Management. So basically what we do is we take a lot of different security features and pack it into one box. So firewalling, of course, which is the essential part of the UTM. But besides that, we also include network protection. We also include advanced persistent threat and so on. So I'm going to show you in my live demo exactly how that works. Web protection, so web filtering capabilities is also included in Sophos UTM. Email protection, both removing malwares and spams and so on, but also email encryption is also included in the Sophos UTM. Wireless protection for basically creating your own hotspots at your company that can also be managed from the Sophos UTM. Web server protection is a feature which is basically a reverse proxy. I don't know if many of you are using Microsoft's TMG. One of the key features of Microsoft TMG is the reverse proxying. So we can do that with the Sophos UTM as well. And we also include endpoint protection in the UTM. So basically you can protect all of your computers from the UTM instead of having to have a separate server where you have your antivirus software installed. You can manage that instead from the UTM. So the UTM comes in many shapes and forms. So we have, of course, hardware that we provide. Everything from really small boxes like this one that I have with me, and really big ones as well. As you can see, I didn't want to carry that one around, so I took the smallest one. The good thing here is that even if you're using our smallest box or our biggest one, you're still going to have the same feature set. So you can still use all the features no matter which size you're actually using. You can also run it on a virtual environment or in the cloud. To be honest, the cloud firewall isn't too popular. I don't know. Many people like the hardware ones where they actually have a hardware in their network. But we also provide a software version of the UTM that you can run on any machine that you have laying around. So if you have a server that you're no longer using, you can actually convert that into a firewall. Just use our UTM software version. And also, it's free for home use. So if you do want to use our Sophos UTM at home, we have many partners and customers who actually do that. You can go into our website and download it and run it on any existing hardware that you have at home. And then you will have a full enterprise firewall at your home. I do that myself. We also have other boxes that can connect to the UTM. So I brought with me a Red 10. So basically, imagine if you could have your whole network, even though you might have a head office here and some remote offices, maybe across the Baltics or the world even. Imagine if you could control that from your central office. Everything is managed from your central office. These red boxes make that possible. So basically what you do is you have your central office with a Sophos UTM, and then to your remote offices, you send out one of these boxes. What will happen is that this one will go up to Sophos, ask, who do I belong to? Sophos will say, you belong to this particular UTM, and then create a VPN tunnel between the two sites. Everything is still managed from the central office, so you can do everything. If you want to have separate firewall policies on this remote site, if you want to have web filtering on this remote site, everything can be managed, but it's managed from the central office. So basically this would be an extension of a really long Ethernet cable. So we have many, many different companies who use this on windmills, ATMs. We have ships that actually have like a central UTM in their head office, and on each boat they actually have a red device so that they can control the traffic and so on. Buses, smaller offices, taxis, and also buildings. We actually have this in buildings where we can control ventilation and stuff like that. This can be run on a WAN cable, so if you do have internet cable, you can run that. If you don't have a WAN cable, you can actually use the USB as well and run it over 3G, so if you want to do that instead. Also, as I mentioned, we also have wireless protection, so if you want to have wireless access, that can also be done using Sophos UTM. So we have our own access points. And you can create your hotspots, everything, and it's still managed from the central UTM. You don't have to have separate software for each individual feature. Everything is managed from one single console. As I mentioned, many of you might know that TMG is going end of life, and therefore Sophos is a really good option to replace Microsoft's TMG. One of the key features, as I said, that many are using Microsoft's TMG for is reverse proxying. So Sophos is actually one of the few vendors who can actually do everything that Microsoft TMG can do. So if you're looking for an alternative to Microsoft TMG, Sophos UTM could be a really good option. So instead of just showing you PowerPoint, I thought that I would actually go into the console to show you a bit more on how all of this actually works in real life. So I have a demo environment here. I'm going to log into my UTM. And when I log in, I get presented with this dashboard. So you can see all the features that you have enabled from the Sophos UTM. If you want, you can also see all the traffic that's actually passing through the UTM at this moment. So we can scan to see if we have a problem with bandwidth or something like that. We can actually see that directly from here, and then we can also make decisions what we want to do with that traffic. I'm using RDP right now, so I can actually block that communication. If someone is downloading BitTorrents and you see that, okay, this is taking up a lot of bandwidth, you can actually block that directly from what we call the flow monitor. If I go to google.com, we go back to the flow monitor, you will shortly see also google.com. Google will appear here, so you can actually also use this directly to web filter all the traffic that's passing through it. You also see a list here of the different components that you have enabled, and you can also see what traffic has been taking up most bandwidth and so on. So you get a really good overview of everything that's going on in your network. We have, of course, many, many different features here. I'm not going to go through everything, but there are some that I really like. First of all, the Sophos UTM is, of course, IPv6 prepared, so you can run, if you're using IPv6, you can use the Sophos UTM for that. You can also use what we call uplink balancing. So if you do have, let's say, two connections to the internet, you can actually share the load between those two connections. You can also use this in failover. So let's say that one of the lines to the internet goes down, you can actually use the other one as a failover. Different network services, network protection, so firewalling, and just a really quick example on how you manage the Sophos UTM, because I really like how easy it is to create and generate rules. So if I want to create a new firewall rule, I just select the source. So I get a list of all the definitions that I've entered here, and I can also create new definitions directly from here. So let's say I want my DMZ network to be able to connect to any using services, let's say FTP, for instance. And then I can also say that this will only be available during certain time periods, and that's how easy it is to create new firewall rules. Network protection. So we also include 2 layers, or actually 3 layers of protection. First of all, the scanning, regular scanning of malware. So we use our Sophos engine to scan the traffic to see if anyone is maybe downloading some malware or getting some emails with malware or anything like that. That will, of course, be scanned. But besides that, we also have what we call advanced threat protection. And this is a really nice feature because it's so easy to turn on. You just select, okay, I want to switch on advanced threat protection. And what will happen is that the Sophos UTM will then scan all the traffic to see if any of your computers in your network are infected by, let's say, a Trojan that's trying to communicate to a botnet server on the internet. The Sophos UTM will pick this up and block that communication, and the admin will, of course, also get a notification saying that you have an infected computer in your network. Please have a closer look at that one. And performance-wise, the advanced threat protection is really nice because it doesn't take up any extra performance of the UTM, because it's basically a blacklist of IP addresses, of websites that we know are infected at this moment. So Sophos Labs gets in approximately 30,000 new addresses each day that we know are used for botnets or command and control. And we basically put that blacklist in this Sophos UTM and make sure that no one of your computers are communicating to those websites or IP addresses. Intrusion prevention is, of course, also included. So basically, advanced threat protection is more scanning which traffic is leaving our network, whereas IPS is looking on, okay, or someone trying to do an attack from the outside into our network. I also mentioned web protection, so you can use the Sophos UTM as a web filtering unit. Just create your rules. You can have different policies applied to different people in your organization. You can also use this on smartphones and tablets and stuff like that. And application control. So just select which applications you want to control. So let's say that we don't want people in our organization to be able to use BitTorrent or Skype or anything like that. You can just type in what you're searching for here in this search field, and this will then give you a list, and you can just select that. Okay, I don't want Skype to be enabled in our network, and block that traffic. You can also use this with quality of service. So let's say that we're using Office 365, and we always want Office 365 to have a dedicated amount of bandwidth. So we can say that, okay, Office 365 always has at least this much amount of bandwidth, whereas YouTube and other high-consuming bandwidth resources might not have as much, or even block them completely if you want to. Email protection. So, as I mentioned, we can also, of course, scan all the emails, make sure that no spam is coming into your organization and no malware is coming in. But we also have encryption. So we have many different forms of encryption included in the Sophos UTM. How many here are encrypting their emails today? Do we have anyone? Yeah? One? Perfect. You get an A+. Well, there are different types of encryption. So S-MIME is probably the most commonly known way of encrypting emails. The only problem with S-MIME, it's quite complicated to actually set it up, because you have to have your key at your UTM, and then you have to share your key with the receivers of your email. So for the admins, this is a really hard work to actually maintain so that you're actually using the encryption. We also have OpenPGP support, but I would say the easiest way to encrypt emails is to use our secure PDF exchange. So what you do is you select, first of all, you download the Outlook add-in. So if you're using Outlook, you can actually just click a button on when you try to send an email. So the users can just say, okay, I want to encrypt this email, and then it will be encrypted. What will happen is that the Sophos UTM will take that email, pack it into an encrypted PDF file, send it to whomever you're sending it to. The receiver of the email will then get an email, like a regular email from you, with an attached file, an attached PDF. To access that PDF file, they have to have a password. Okay, so there are different ways to get this password. So one way is to, for the sender of the emails to get an email back from the Sophos UTM with the password. Then they can send that password any other way, like SMS message, or just call them up and say what the password is. The other option is that the receiver of the email can go in to a portal to generate their own password. And then that password can be used for an eternity. So the receiver can use the same password every time. And what I really like about this is that it's very easy. I use it all the time when I'm sending sensitive data to our customers, like, let's say, license information or stuff like that. And every time that the customer receives the SPX encrypted email, they always say, this is a really easy way to encrypt emails, and they want to have a closer look at it. And besides that, we can also look at the content within the email. So Sophos UTM can actually scan the content to see, okay, is someone trying to send postal address information, or credit card numbers, or banking details, confidential documents, and so on. So you just specify exactly what you want to scan for. And then the Sophos UTM can pick this up and automatically encrypt it using SPX encryption. So the users, they don't even have to think about what they're doing. The Sophos UTM will think for them instead. You can also have keywords. So let's say that you have a keyword that the Sophos UTM should be looking for, and then encrypt the email automatically. So you just type encryption somewhere in the email, and then that will automatically be encrypted with SPX encryption. Endpoint protection can also be managed from the Sophos UTM. And I would say this is especially interesting for smaller customers. They might not have an infrastructure of their own servers and stuff like that. And cloud is something that maybe the customers don't want to look at. They want to feel more, they want to have like a private cloud. Then this is a great solution for them, because they're in control of their own antivirus software. What they do is they just go into the endpoint protection part in the Sophos UTM. They select deploy agent, so they just download the installation package and install it on the computers they want to protect. And you get a nice overview of all the servers that you're protecting right now. And this includes antivirus, device control, and also web control. So we're actually taking the web control policy that you already have entered up here and applying it to the computer. So even if I'm out traveling, the same web control policy will still apply to me even though I'm somewhere else in the world, not behind the firewall. If you already have an antivirus solution, but you still want to use the web control part, you can select that, okay, I don't want to use the antivirus part, I don't want to use the device control, I just want to install the web control functionality on the endpoints as well. Wireless protection, as I mentioned, we have our own access points. So what you can do is manage these access points directly from the Sophos UTM. So, and I think this really makes sense because you already have all your networks and everything in your UTM. So it's very easy for you to also set up access points, and maybe if you want one access point or one wireless network to be able to communicate to your internal network, then that's really easy to set it up here. You don't have to do that in two separate consoles. So what happens is you have your UTM in your office, and you basically just plug in a Sophos access point somewhere in your network, wherever. Sophos UTM will then detect this access point like this, and you can just say, okay, I accept this new access point, and select, okay, I want this access point to broadcast these 3 different wireless networks. So each access point can broadcast up to 8 wireless networks. You can also create hotspots. So There are different types of hotspots, like just the really easy one, terms of use acceptance, where the users can just say, okay, I accept the terms, and then they're free to go to the internet. Password of the day. Basically, an email message will be sent to a receptionist or someone in, or the whole organization every day with a new password. You can also use vouchers, really nice vouchers with QR codes so that the receptionist can just hand out these vouchers if they want to provide internet access for guests coming into your network. Or back-end authentication, so we can see, okay, this computer belongs to our Active Directory, so we want to allow them to have wireless access all the time without having to do anything. Web server protection, so this is our reverse proxying. This is the, as I mentioned, one of the killer features in the Sophos UTM when it comes to replacing TMG. So you basically say that you have your UTM as a front end, let's say it's a web server, or if you're publishing Link or SharePoint or any other services in your network, this will then be your front end, and all the communication from the outside will just go to the Sophos UTM. The Sophos UTM will then communicate back to your web servers or Link or email servers or whatever. And of course, also we provide reverse authentication, so you can use basic authentication or form-based authentication so that when the users try to access a resource within the network, they get prompted with they have to authenticate. And that can actually also be connected to your Active Directory domain controller so that they can enter the same username and password as they have in Active Directory. Red management, as I mentioned here, I have the Redbox. And just to show you exactly how easy it is to deploy a new Red. So let's say, I think this picture gives you a good idea of what the features are. So you have your central office, and you might have remote offices around the world. Even a home office with just one person. So what you do is you go into the server deployment helper. You just select, okay, this is a Red 10. You put in a host name for the UTM. You use the Red ID, and the Red ID can be found underneath the Red device. And just enter that Red ID here, and if it has been used before, you also need to have an unlock code. So when you enter all this information, the Sophos UTM will report all this information to Sophos Cloud Provisioning Service. So once this goes online somewhere in the world, this will then go also up to Sophos Cloud Provisioning Service, asking who do I belong to, and the provisioning service will say you belong to this particular UTM, and then establish a VPN tunnel between the two sites. No communication in the future will go through Sophos. It's just the initial phase to get them to know each other, basically. If you don't want to use the Sophos Cloud Provisioning Service, it's also possible to actually provision this by using a USB drive. So you just enter a USB drive, start it up, and then you will have the provisioning done locally without using Sophos Cloud services in that case. And you can select, okay, I want all the traffic going from this device to the UTM, or you can also use it in what we call split mode, meaning that when someone behind this Red device wants to go to the internet, they go directly out to internet. If they need to access a local file share or something within the organization, then they will go through the tunnel. So I don't think I do justice on telling you how easy it is. Basically, what you can do is just send this out directly to the offices and just ask them to send you the activation code or the serial number of the Red, and then you will have everything and you will be able to control everything like it was a local LAN port on your physical UTM. So it will basically be like another NIC on your UTM. You can VLAN tag this traffic if you want to and everything. Of course, if you do have larger offices, you can also use site-to-site VPN. So you can have two Sophos UTM communicating to each other. If you have, let's say, another vendor at one of your offices, and then you have a Sophos UTM at your main office, you can have site-to-site between two different vendors as well. That's also possible. Remote access, so regular VPN for clients, is also available from the Sophos UTM. So if we have support for many different sorts of VPN, SSL, IPsec, PPTP, and so on. One feature that I really like is the HTML5 VPN portal. So if you want to publish certain applications or certain connections using your web browser, then that's possible with the Sophos UTM. So I'm going to just show you really quickly. Let's say I want to publish my Active Directory domain controller using remote desktop. So I just select the destination. I'm going to take my Active Directory server. I select which users I want to allow to use this. I'm just going to say the admin is allowed to use that connection, and click Save. If I then go to the user portal, so this is accessible for the users. You will see an HTML5 VPN portal tab here, and I, as the admin, can then just use my web browser to connect to my Active Directory domain controller using my web browser. So this can be used on any device, like your iPhone or your Android or your Windows phone, as long as the web browser on that device has support for HTML5. So that's just really quickly some of the features that are included in the Sophos UTM. Of course, logging and everything that is also included here, NAT and so on. But I'm not going to go through everything today. We do, however, have a new series that we recently launched. So we call it the SG Series. Everything from the smaller boxes. We actually now also have these ones but with built-in Wi-Fi, so that you can have AC Wi-Fi on the smaller offices. We also have launched a new series of access points. So this is the smallest one. We call it the AP15. We have AP100s, and these three are AP100 different ones, so you can have it in the ceiling or a desktop version, or even an outdoor antenna with 6 antennas. I really like this one. So just really short on the AP100X, I think X is for extreme, is IP factor 67. It has AC 1.3 gigabits of throughput and so on. So it's really nice new access points that we're launching. So performance, of course, we have increased performance a lot. If you look at the previous versions and compare it to the newer ones, you can actually see that we've increased the performance by 300%. So much, much more power than the new ones. The new ones also come with these, what do you call it, Flexi ports. So you can actually choose, okay, I need these connections. Maybe you need SFP and SFP+, then you can actually decide that yourself. And just to give you some comparatives against the competition, so I really like this one because this is actually real figures that you can actually see how much firewall throughput, and you can see that we are very much higher than everyone else. But yeah, you can also see that for some cases, IPS, we're really high there as well, but there are other vendors that are actually even higher throughput there. So just to give you an idea of how much power these new devices actually have. We also launched, I don't know if anyone knows about Cyberome. Nope. Cyberome is also a UTM vendor that Sophos recently purchased. And one of the really nice features with Cyberome is their iView, where you can actually get really good detailed reports on what's going on with the traffic in your network. So we now also launched a Sophos version of the iView, so you can get all the visibility of everything that's going on, and it's certified by these different compliance reports as So that was basically it. I'm just going to show you one more console really quickly. If you do have many different UTMs across the world, you can actually have Sophos SUM, it's Sophos UTM Manager, where you can manage all of your UTMs from one single console. So instead of having to log into each and every one, you can actually manage them from this dashboard. So you can see how much traffic these, timed out. You can see how much traffic these UTMs are generating, get really nice reports, and you can also, of course, send out configurations to your UTMs directly from here instead of having to log into each and every one. So we have many partners, especially, who are using this, or larger companies that have different UTMs on different sites, and you can then have this unified management center, and it's also free of charge. So we don't charge any extra for this, and you can use it. So that's a little bit of Sophos UTM. Do we have any questions? Anyone? No? Okay. I think I'm done. We do have a stand outside together with Hermitage. So if you do want more specific demo on specific features, just come up to us and we'll show you more in detail how this works. Okay, thank you very much.